In the last two sessions, we learned how to move in spiritual gifts. What I want to do now over the next few minutes is to give you some ideas for where you could serve on a Sunday morning in a Sunday service. Now, to be clear, ministry goes beyond a church program. It goes beyond what we do on Sunday mornings. But that being said, I do believe that serving in a local church on a Sunday morning is a great way for you to discover your gifts, to develop your gifts, and practice serving other people sacrificially. And so I don't want to underestimate the value of serving on a Sunday morning or in a Sunday worship service. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to go over some common ministry areas that you'll find in most churches and explain what gifts go with those ministry areas to give you some ideas for where you could serve in a worship service, okay? And who knows, if you're not serving right now, maybe one of these different ministries will pop out at you, pique your interest, and maybe you'll find a ministry that's great for you. So the first ministry I want to talk about is worship ministry. So these are the people who are singing, playing instruments, and leading the congregation into worship. Now, this ministry is responsible for preparing the congregation to hear from the Lord, they're responsible for leading the congregation into worship and praise. And so this is a very important ministry. And some of the gifts that are important for this ministry are, for example, one is it is a skill-based ministry. So you do need to have some background in music. You need to be able to sing or play an instrument, or at least be willing to learn. So that's first. But the spiritual gifts that are relevant for this ministry include leadership. So if you're going to be leading a congregation into worship, you need to have the gift of leadership. Another important ministry, or gift, I should say, is prophecy. So oftentimes when you're in a worship service, the Lord uses the worship to minister to people in powerful ways through the songs, through the prayers. So prophecy is another relevant gift. And then exhortation as well. So oftentimes when we're worshiping, the worship leader or one of the singers will exhort us to praise God, to serve Him, to glorify Him. So that's another relevant gift. So that's one ministry area. Another ministry is that of ushering and security. So the usher team is responsible for setting up the service, making sure that everything is organized and ready, and that people are, when they come, that people are greeted, they know where to go, they feel welcome. And so this is another important ministry because it's responsible for creating an atmosphere that is hospitable and that allows people to feel at home in the service. Okay, and so some relevant gifts for this ministry include, again, leadership, right? Like being able to lead groups of people to set up the service, to prepare things. Also, administration is a relevant gift, right? Being able to organize different parts of the service and set things up. Also, hospitality is super relevant, and even maybe the gift of service or helping. So those are some relevant gifts for that ministry. Another area of ministry is administration. So people who are either kind of working on the back end of various ministries, setting up schedules, calendars, maybe working on in the area of finance, right? Like maybe helping with accounting, counting the offering. These administration type gifts or ministries are really valuable because they help the church stay organized, and they help us to be faithful stewards of the various resources that God has entrusted to us, whether it's volunteers and the hours that they donate, or people's funds. Okay, so administration is a very important ministry, and of course the gift relevant for that is administration. Also the gift of helping or service, and the gift of leadership. These are relevant gifts for this ministry. Another ministry that I think is especially important in this day and age, is media ministries. So ministries that relate to communications, whether that's working on doing tech related stuff on Sunday morning, like doing sound or multimedia, managing a social media account for the church, sending out email blasts. This is an important ministry because we live in the age of communication. And so the church needs to be able to communicate in a way that is effective and engaging so that we can really do our best in reaching out to people. So the gifts that are related to this, again, skill-based, you could be someone who is good at graphic design, but also administration is a valuable gift for this area. Another one is evangelism. So the gift of evangelism is super relevant for the area of communications and media related ministries. Also, the gift of wisdom, knowing what to communicate and when, and what would be the most effective means for communicating important information. So media related ministries is something else that you could consider. Now I want to talk about, lastly, is kids ministry. Kids ministry is unique because it's kind of like a microcosm of the larger church, right? Everything you would do in a Sunday service, you have to do on a smaller scale and kind of a little differently in kids ministry, right? So kids will have their own ushers. Kids will have their own worship. Kids will have their own means of communication and things like that. And so what's really important here is, first, you have to have a heart for children. You have to have a heart to really minister to kids. And that's a unique group that needs a lot of special care and ministry. So that's one thing to consider. But some other relevant gifts might include teaching, might include administration, of course, right? If we're taking care of people's kids, we need to be organized. We need to have everything ready to receive these kids and then to give them back to the parents. Another gift is evangelism, specifically for the next generation, for the younger generation, and perhaps maybe exhortation as well, right? A heart that wants to exhort kids to serve the Lord and get to know Him. So those are a few different ministries, and I'm sure you can maybe think of a few others as well, but we have music ministry, ushering, media ministries, administration, and kids ministry. So if you haven't joined a ministry yet, I want to encourage you to prayerfully consider joining a ministry, because this is a great way to serve other people, and it's a wonderful way to discover your gifts and to develop them.